what I'm doing today is I'm excited to be out here tonight because I've been waiting for 5 weeks to come back in here and try to lay eyes on a buck I call Coke Can. He's gonna be my #1 hit list buck on this farm next year, and he'll be a giant. And it's been 5 weeks since I've been in this tree stand since I shot fresh back on November 8th. And I wanted to wait until we had cool to cold temps. Could be colder tonight, but it's not too bad. It's been raining for 4 days, and now the barometric pressure is high. We have a north wind blowing straight from the beans and the grass where he's been bedding and feeding, and blowing right towards me. So high pressure, right wind, and it's a red moon. And right now is the time of year when the bucks are focused primarily on putting the feed bag on in order to survive the rigors of the rut. So the mission tonight is to just sit tight and hopefully lay eyes on Coke Can for the first time. Mission accomplished. I haven't seen him since, I want to say, July. I captured some video of him with the drone in the beans, and that was the only time I've seen him. That was a treat, but that was the reason I came in here. I just knew it. Cold wind, northwest. 4 days of rain that stopped about an hour and 45 minutes before I got out here, and a red moon. All right, I just found Coke Can's left side. So I'm in here on the far southwest corner of the property. And I'm gonna pick up the camera here and show you the path that I took yesterday. And because I was running out of time, I had 30 to 40 minutes of daylight in the timber, and then the last 15-20 minutes I spent out on the food plot. Okay, I'm a good 400 yards away from the food plot, and I'm gonna film the trail that I walked on. And I must have looked left when I should have looked right. Doesn't matter, I missed it. This is cool. Okay, so I'm gonna show it. Here we go. So here's the trail. You can see my boot tracks yesterday. I branched off and went up in the timber, but there was one point where I came down this direction. Okay, I zigged and zagged. So I'd go up into a thicket where the cedars were, and then I'd come back down here where the trail was. Man, and I just missed it. Look at this thing. Don't get my gloves all wet. Look at that base. Still red. Got some mud on there. No big deal. Look at that. Short main beam, which I knew going into it, but look at that cool, thick, bladed brow. Look at that right there. And he dropped, let's see, today's Friday. He dropped sometime between 5:45 or 5:45 in the morning on the 18th, and afternoon, evening on the 19th. Look at that. Look at that blood. Look at that freshie. Short tines, but really good mass throughout. This base is probably 6 1/4. That is a massive base. Now I just have to try to find the other side. Look at that. Look at that color. And he didn't break off any of the beads at the bottom. Those little almost points. Look at that. Man, that just made my year. Now if I can just find, it's heavy. It's short main beam. His main beam's probably, well, it's longer than you think because of the mass, but it's not very long. It's 23 maybe. But look at that. Awesome. Here's my boot track from last night right here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 yards. Wow, look at that thing. Here we go. There's that extra tine on the inside, and it hasn't been broken off. Look at that, and that's 1 inch and some. Look at that thing. Wow, look at that. A little bit of red on this one, but not quite as much. Good mass, long brows, extra kicker. Wow. No chews, of course. It's only been down for 2.5 days. Look at that. I'm gonna grab the other one here. Ho, 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 ho. I don't even care if this thing scores. He's just massive and just loaded with character. Look at that. That's an old Coke can. You can just hear and feel the mass That's a 6-inch base. I can't wait to measure that thing. So this one's not quite an inch, but he's an 11 point with this extra kick on the inside of his main beam between the G1 and G2. Look at that. These things are not the longest beam, but the mass is incredible. Look at that, baby. Exciting stuff. Freshies. Hashtag brown gold. All right, heading to a farm to check some traditional cameras located in some tucked away hidden honey holes that are not the greatest for producing a consistent cell signal. So I'm gonna pull some cards and then doctor some scrapes with some raw frozen scent, check the food plots, and because the creek's a little bit higher than normal, I'm gonna have to use the hip boots. So I'll be in there in just a second. All right, so I'm at this micro kill plot with the tall tine tubers across the creek. Had to use hip boots. I'm gonna go ahead and doctor this mock scrape with the raw frozen, and it's almost August, so you want to condition those deer to be used in your areas well before the hunting season arrives. Here's my lone wolf stand back in this corner, and the creek is maybe 3-4 steps from the stand, so good spot. September 11th, and I'm pulling up to the farm right now. I'm going to park here in about another 50 yards or so, get out. It's hot, 90 degrees, but it's a red moon, the deer moving. Let's see what happens tonight. Coke can's been in here the last 3 nights in a row. Let's get her done. I just want to take a second to talk about the demeanor and mood of big deer. So Coke can's really aggressive. He's a big-bodied animal, big rack, and I captured his drone footage of him back on August 30th in this food plot, and he chased 4 bucks off the food plot. He's actually sparring with a smaller buck in this second turnip plot I have about 75 yards off to my left. But he chased 3 other bucks off this food plot. So if I see him tonight, you know, and he's not coming in, I might have to snort wheeze to him or grunt to him. I do have the secret weapon here. The old Esh custom call. Did me well last year on fresh. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so it's 90 degrees here. Very uncomfortable for both me and the deer, right? So I sprayed down with Scent Thief at the truck. And I'm going to spray down here again. Armpits, groin, and then also where my pants tuck into my rubber boots. That's really important, so it kind of blocks any of your foot odor as it's coming out from the rubber boots. Rubber boots, I have a hate-love relationship with, you know. It's good and bad, right? So it also creates, you know, the perfect environment for heat, sweat, and ultimately bacteria. So I definitely spray down around the rim of my upper rim of my boots, and then I spray my hat and my hair really good, you know. And I run, of course, the Ozonics HR600, you know, so it's a combination. It's a layering system, you know. It's not any one particular thing that you can rely on entirely, I don't think. But, you know, when you do multiple steps and you check all the boxes, you're stacking the odds in your favor. So, anyway, I like to spray down really good. I think it makes a big difference. Hook. I passed him up on opening day. 5 days ago. Now we're just waiting for Mr. Big. He showed up yesterday and today. So fingers crossed.
Meh. Meh. Got him. Got my first booner. Yes. Yes. Stay on him, Sean. Stay on him. I think I just killed him. I think I just killed Crockett. Baby, I just killed him. I just got him. I just did. I just shot him perfect. Oh my God. Yeah, I just hit him right behind the front shoulder. Cocaine. Yes, yes, yes. I hit him perfect. That's what I meant. Shh, 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 shh. Okay. I'm gonna back out of here really slow because I think he died in the field, but I'm not 100%. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna climb down, and I'm gonna go back the way I came, and I'm gonna go get bread. Okay. Okay, baby, I love you. Yes. He didn't see it coming. Yes. Praise be to God. That's for you, Charlie. September 11th, baby. Yes. I couldn't have done without that right there, folks. Then that right there. Well, the wind's perfect, so I'm slipping out downwind the same way that I came in. And I think he went down within 15 seconds right there in the field. But I don't know that for sure because the grass is 8 feet tall. So I hope I didn't hit him a little bit too far forward. It looked like I double lunged him, but I think I maybe took out the heart because there was another deer in the field that ran off to the side at the very tail end when I zoomed out and then zoomed back in again. So I don't think that was him. I think he was falling to the left on camera. The camera angle is always a little bit different than the hunter's point of view. So I go back and review the footage, give him some time in case he's not expired yet, and go from there. All right, here we are the next morning. Got her done last night. Here it is, Coke can. Oh man, incredible mass and probably close to 7-inch bases. His H3 measurements are probably close to 7.5, maybe even 8 inches on this left side. I mean, I just can't get over it. It's like a Canadian whitetail here in Kentucky. So I'm gonna tell the story. Found him this morning and shot him last night about 7:45, and he was about the 20th deer to show up. And I can't get over how exciting it was. The pre-roll of having him walk in from about 200 yards away with a small buck and a doe, and having about 15 deer off to my left, about 80 yards to my left, in a Whitetail Institute tall time tuber plot, and I was running the Ozonics unit, HR600 on hyper boost mode. It made all the difference in the world, man. I had a couple does come in. They kind of got a little swirly when I first set up. It was 90 degrees, so I was a little bit hot. And I used the creek for access, came in, and the wind was swirling the first 45 minutes when deer started showing up. And a lot of times, you know, guys don't realize this, but their hunt will be over a lot of times before it even starts. And if you spook even one deer at the wrong time of night or morning, your target will not show up and come within bow range. So it's really important to watch the wind. But when the wind does shift on you, it's good to have a layering system to check all the boxes and stack the odds in your favor. So that was incredible how that worked out. But tell a quick story about the deer. So this story and the hunt for this deer starts last year. I picked up his sheds on February 21st. And I picked them up about 150 yards from here, over my right shoulder. And although I was targeting this deer last year, I'm glad that I didn't kill him because he grew substantially bigger. The buck that I killed was a deer I called Fresh, and I had my dad come down from Wisconsin. He killed my #1 hit list buck that I was after on a different farm here in Kentucky. And I was happy for him. And then after that, the next day, I tagged out as well. And so the hunt for this deer started as soon as I punched that buck tag. I kept monitoring the deer with trail cam pics, of course, in-person sightings, and then with the drone in January and February on a late season food source. And what makes this hunt so successful is behind me I have about 8 or 9 acre native grass patch. And about every 2 years, the farmer lets me bush hog the field, kind of knock it back so it stays in native grasses. Perfect nesting habitat for ground nesting birds like quail and turkeys, and then of course bedding habitat. And big deer feel really comfortable stepping out from standing timber to tall native grasses and then into your food source. It's a nice, smooth, easy transition, a really nice, smooth, very comfortable place for them to be right before they step into an open field. And behind me are 2 Whitetail Institute tall tine tuber plots, and they've been crushing it. And before he showed up, I had about 15, 16 deer, including a buck I call Hook, that I passed up on opening day. A beautiful deer in the 150 range, beautiful velvet. Never killed the velvet, decided to pass up on him, although it was tough. Knowing that this deer was here made it a lot easier. So I had one encounter with him on the 9th of September, and then 2 days later, which was last night, I killed him. So it was 90 degrees, and I came in on the back north side, downwind with the Quiet Cat, dropped down in the creek and pushed it up against the bank in a steep section of the creek bed where there aren't a bunch of other deer trails, right? So they wouldn't hear, see, or smell it. And then I walked about 90 yards upriver and then banged it right, came up the steep embankment right to the base of the tree, climbed up into my Lone Wolf 1.0 and got all settled in. A lot of times a hunt will be done with before it even begins. And I had 2 does that were really nervous and they knew something was awry. They didn't know exactly what. They couldn't put their finger on it. But I was really hot. It was 90 degrees and I got a little sweated walking up. Tossed my shirt in the creek and soaked it up, wrung it out. That kept me cool and that helped. And I sprayed down multiple times en route and while on the stand. And I was missing that raw frozen scent into the air, and that all helped. But man, you know, get a 4 or 5 year old matriarchal doe, and they don't have just themselves to keep safe. They have to look out for their does. And this one doe came in with triplets, and she was just like, something is not kosher here. Something is not right. And off she went. But she wasn't 100%. And by the time he showed up, an hour and 45 minutes later, I was cool and calm and relaxed, and the wind was getting better. And then a small buck showed up, and then right behind him, a small doe, and then he popped out. And the pre-roll of him coming in was just epic. So he starts walking parallel to the little tiny, maybe 1/5 of an acre tall tine tuber plot that I was sitting in. And he was turning and he was walking parallel to my plot. So I said, oh no, you don't. So I got out the old Esch custom call and I grunted to him twice, and he turned on a dime. He's like, what is that? I don't recognize that guy's voice. And he came right in from 60, 50, 40, 30, broke cover, and he came in, swung around, and I heart shot him at 21 yards. And let me see, yes, he was blindsided. And these new nocks are incredible. He did not see it coming. It was awesome, man. At first I thought it was a complete pass-through, but I showed the footage to Adam, and he says, I think that's a heart shot deer, man. I think he's gonna be right there. And he was right. I came out last night with my good friend Brett, and we were looking, we hit this trail first, and we didn't find any blood coming out. And I said, you know, we both were under the impression that he died in the field. And when after the shot, I put the bow up on the hanger, and I got back on him and zoomed out, found him, zoomed back in, focused, and then there was a little bit of, my friend Brett noticed this first. He had that nervous, rapid twitch with his tail, and he's starting to lean to his right slightly and very subtle. And then he did that death lunge where he turned 90 degrees and rushed forward maybe 30 yards and then piled up. And I thought I saw him fall, but I wasn't sure because he was just out of frame. And we came back out here about 90 minutes later, maybe a tad bit later than that, and we walked within 4 or 5 yards of him. But I just, you know, just to be sure, you know, when in doubt, back out. I came back out this morning with my son Dakota, and he was a part of the whole process. I couldn't be happier. I'm gonna go grab him. Come here, buddy. There. Is just insane, isn't it? Isn't that big? He's got a little drop tine started on both sides. Look at that. I just noticed that. Little drop tine on both sides. We'll count them up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's an inch, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points. And we're not going to count these drop tines because they're not, one is maybe a 1/4 inch and the other one's about 1/2 inch. But how cool is that? I just noticed that. Anyway. Let's go ahead and get them field dressed and then load them up, huh? Are you excited? I love you, buddy.